Hey, Brandon here. And yeah, so I've been really excited about doing this video for a long time because we've been anxiously awaiting conditional notifications in Google Sheets to get released, and that finally happened in Google Sheets. So, what are conditional notifications? I mean, pretty simply, conditional notifications are ways in which you can send a designated email to an individual or a group of individuals based on the contents of a cell changing. It sounds kind of boring on the face of it, but it's not. It's actually something that we would have either had to do in app scripts with a little bit of code or had some kind of third-party application or something like that to do beforehand. I mean, yes, in Google Sheets, you can do notification settings. So out of the box, Google Sheets always been able to give you a notification, or if you're on a sheet, you can opt into this when any changes are made or a user submits a form. So if it's connected to a Google form, and you can get that as a daily digest or right away. But it's kind of, that's kind of a really wide setting. It's not kind of a scalpel. And oftentimes in more complex workflows, we want something that when a specific content is changed, we want to be able to send a notification. So we'll dive into a demo and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here we're going to go with Team Dog or Team Cat. So we've got request. We'll go with request one. We'll do a drop down here. The drop down, new drop down, and we will do Team Dog or Team Cat. We'll assign a color code for them. All right, so we've got a drop down with Team Dog, Team Cat. We'll go ahead and expand the range just so that it can apply to anything that's actually added there. So we've got request one. We'll add a request two. And so now what we want is to be able to, when the content changes, like something has been assigned to Team Dog, that will actually send a notification to Team Dog, and same thing for Team Cat. So let us go ahead and go into, under Tools, you're going to find Conditional Notifications. And as I'm bringing this up, one thing I should mention is I've tested this on my Google Workspace account. That's what we're in right now. And it is working. I looked at the private side. I did not see it live yet in Google Sheets on just a regular unpaid Gmail account. I'm certainly hoping that they add that to Google Sheets, that a huge number of us can access, because this really is kind of a game changer for teams or people working together and stuff like that. So we will open up conditional notifications, and the option down here is to add a rule. So in this case, we're going to do the rule name of Team Dog notification, right? And the default out of the box is if the cell value changes. You can't actually change that yet, but the way that it's set up, I'm really hoping that there's other options that are coming later to be able to do this. We want to make sure that this is column B that we're actually looking at. And so here, I want to make a further condition. So you could just leave it right there. Anytime a value changes, enter in the emails and let people know. But I want to be hyper specific here. So in this one, the condition one is text contains Team Dog in column B, right? There we go. In column B, and the default again is send an email notification. I expect this to expand too. Maybe it can tie into things like Google Spaces or Google Chat using Google Spaces to notify teams. That would be awesome. But the default is manually type in each email. That's what I'm going to do now, but there's another option too, which is to choose a column with emails, and I'll talk about that here in just a second. But just right out of the box, we'll go ahead and we'll just notify myself for Team Dog. And you can see Team Dog notification when the value changes in sheet 1B, send an email notification to Brandon Williams, right? We'll go ahead and add another one, which will be Team Cat notifications. If the cell value changes, we're going to choose column B. We're going to add a condition. That condition is text contains, and we're going to do team cat because that's the other option in our dropdown. Column B, and then send an email notification, and we're going to do this one to my email. All right, so we've got two set up, two teams. When the value changes to one or the other, that sends the email. And so we should be good. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll do team dog and team cat. I'll expand that out so that you can see it. And it will take probably 5 minutes or so before the emails actually go out. But if you click on view trigger history, you can actually see the trigger history. And you can see that when I was preparing for this, there was a deleted rule, but you can see the two that I just did, which were a team dog notification. If I expand that, gives me a status successful, gives me an action email, gives me the recipient. Same thing for the team cat notification. So I know that that email is in the queue and will be sent in just a couple of minutes. Now, before I go any further with that, I do want to talk about the settings because in the early testing, we were having difficulty with some of the accounts recognizing or being able to be added, whether it was myself adding a team member, whether it was myself adding my own account, and the help files weren't really obvious as to what it was. In fact, when we talked with Google Help, they kept pointing us back to under tools, the notification settings, and making sure that the notification settings for this individual document were enabled. That turned out not to be the case. What we actually found out was in the general settings for Drive. So if you go to drive.google.com, you go up to the little cogwheel up at the top, and the second one down is notifications. You have to make sure that all of the email ones are set. So I know a lot of people have only flipped over, including myself, had only flipped over to just getting notifications in Google Chat, because then it's just in chat and it's linear and it makes it easy. If the email settings are not selected here, then you will get a block or an X, and it'll say that that specific account could not be accessed. So just a heads up, if you're setting it up, just want to make sure that the people you're sending to actually have email notifications enabled. So that's a really simple explanation of how the conditional notifications work. And obviously with the conditions, you can get a little bit more complex. So why is this cool? Well, let's go over to a new sheet. So in a new sheet, so my tables thing popped up here, but you can add a table. This will be really familiar for you if you work a lot in Google Sheets using projects. But here, I'll just select, there we are. I'll just go ahead and insert this project task one. So here, this is, a default table that is pretty familiar. You've got a task owner, you've got a status, start date, end date, milestone, deliverable. Maybe you want to be able to add something like a, customize it to have like a project lead, and insert the names there. But so where conditional notifications are going to be really powerful is if you want to notify, let's say, the entire team that the priority has changed, or the status has changed, or maybe you only want to do a notification when a task is complete and you only want to notify the project lead in that case. That's where you can start to use conditional notifications so that you're only sending those notifications in those really finite situations. Interestingly enough, you can send conditional notifications to people that aren't even on the sheet. Now, nothing in this overrules the access to the sheet. They actually just get an email that says, a value has changed, doesn't even say what the value is, and then you can request access to the sheet. But if the member is a member of the sheet, the email will actually come up and actually show you what the exact value changed from what to what. They can click into the sheet and actually see that, come in and add notes or something like that. So there's a lot more to come with conditional notifications, but I'm super interested in where Google is going in Sheets right now with this. When they introduce tables, and then you combine that with things like the smart chips and the ability to kind of standardize, make it easier to standardize the information in tables, and now putting in a layer of conditional notifications on top of that, they're really making it into a project management tool that can do a lot of things. And I'm really excited to see some of the variations that might come in the future with that, and specifically maybe a deeper integration with things like Google Spaces and stuff like that. But even this is going to save, personally, it's going to save me a lot of time on, this is something that I normally would have done in AppScript. And the fact that we can actually just do that without AppScripts now, and really anybody can do it. Super, super cool. So yeah, super exciting. Again, I want to see it on the private side, not just the workspace side. But if you're in workspace, I think you're really going to like this. All right. Actually, let's see. Yep. Right on time, right? So here is the one for Team Dog. So you can see this is the email that came in, and I told you it took a couple of minutes, but you've got the one update, what it was to cell B1. If you click into this, it should take you directly into the sheet. It does. And yeah, so that's how it works. If I check on my mobile, you can see actually that it's not going to come up at all, is it? Anyway, the notification on my personal account said important values had changed in the spreadsheet, but my email account doesn't have access to the spreadsheet. So it says that I'm giving you the notification that something has changed. It gives you a link to a spreadsheet, so it didn't even contain the title of the spreadsheet. But if you click on that, it goes right into a request access. So, yeah, that's how it works. All right, have a good day.